What's up, guys? So, a couple of changes, and I think they might be kind of big, but there will be more like smaller changes as like things kind of go on, if that makes sense. Firstly, and I hope you can tell, the microphone situation has changed, and I picked up, not sponsored or anything, picked up with my own money, the DJI Mic Mini. Which, just as I'm recording this seems like it does a less good job of noise rejection, but still hopefully good enough so that it's not like annoying to everyone. Secondly, as I'm sure you can tell by what will end up being the length of the video, I'm gonna do, like, I know the whole idea behind this was that I was gonna do like minimal editing, but I was annoyed by how many like gaps there were with my speech pattern, right? And I'm still trying to get better about just continually speaking, but that seems like it's going to take a lot of practice and just something I need to get better at kind of naturally, instead of, oh, well, I need to do it, so boom, it's done. And I wish that was something that was just easy like that for me. One of the reasons, I think, is the problem with the way I'm recording these is I'll just start driving and then just start talking, and then sometimes it'll get turned into an episode, and other times it just won't. But because they're not like pre-planned or anything, I don't know really what I've put out there, right? And so, like, I'll try and get better about it in the future, but my apologies in advance if I retell a story 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 times. Because, as my wife will tell you, I definitely do that. And she'll go, yep, I know this story. I could probably tell this story and make it sound like it's coming from me. Or something to that effect, right? But, so I've got the new mic, and I'm going to start cutting just the audio, because I was messing around with one recording that I did, because I was looking and it said, well, yeah, if you kind of zoom in the screen and like have a very, very short transition, then you can cut a good portion of time. But because of the like change in the zoom, a lot of people won't even notice. And I'm intentionally leaving pauses in here so that, just as an example, I can kind of show you what that looks like. And truth be told, I hated it. The audio sounded better, and it was still synced up. It was still like all matched. The reasoning, I didn't want to go through and do a lot of editing because I figured it's better to have those pauses rather than like a very staccato, oh, I'm here, and now I'm here, and now I'm here. And I think instead, if I just go ahead and chop the audio up, I'll still have the truck audio in the background, so you'll still get plenty of like road noise and stuff, which I assume some people like, and that's the reason I'm leaving it. But now, like, if I turn on my blinker, the microphone might pick it up, but it won't be shown on the screen, like in the video. Or if I hit a bump and oof, right, or something like that, then it might be confusing because it might look like I'm sitting at a stoplight or something. But I think that's just kind of give or take, like, oh, well, you know, you can have one or the other, and until I get better at just continuously speaking and filling all of those little gaps and not having to worry about what I'm going to say next and where I'm going with this sentence, and like that was actually really good for me right there. But for long stretches of time, I can't do it. And I think partially, at least, the reasoning behind it was, okay, time for a story time. When I was real little, like preschool, kindergarten age, I had a lot of trouble with speaking. And it was because I had a lot of problems with my ears, and still do. But so I was in the special education classes, which I know are like how to put this nicely. If somebody says you're in or you are special education or SPED, generally that's not a nice thing to be told, right? Or like you're on the short bus, or you know, like, and I'm not trying to knock anybody because I was one of them, but generally the connotation is like you have a severe learning disability, right? And or you're just slow, or you're, I don't know, basically if you are in special education classes, then you're a dummy, right? So preschool, kindergarten, I was in special education because I had trouble speaking, I had trouble with a stutter, really bad stutter, and honestly, I don't remember most of it, any of it. I've got a couple like fragments of memories, but you know, largely it's nothing. And to hear my mom tell it, it was basically like the traditional special education kids, where they need specialized education because either a traditional learning process doesn't work, or they have trouble speaking at all, or they're actually deaf, or they are, you know, and I'm specifically not naming any conditions because I don't know enough about them to confidently say, oh, well, if you have this condition, then you should be in special ed. But you know what I mean, right? So I go to the classes, and the way my mom tells it, basically I go in there sit down with one of the teachers or interviewers or analyzers or something like that, and basically they asked me questions, and they would say, how do you think this man feels in this picture? And I would hold up like a little cartoon. And I would go, blah, 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 right? Like, you know, how little kids just ramble. And the person would go, oh, okay. And my mom, who's over, like, in the corner or in a different room or something, goes, he said this. And the tester, let's call him a tester, kind of blinks and goes, what? Because for those that have kids or have been around kids, like, you know what your kid is saying, right? To everyone else, it might be blah, 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 blah. But to, like, immediate family members or parents or, like, someone that's around the kid enough, they know, oh, okay, that kid is saying, hey, watch out, there's a bottle right by your foot, and if you move, you're going to kick it. Or something, right? So they would go, oh, okay, look at the card, look at me, look at my mom, look at me, look at the card, go, okay, why do they feel that way? Blah, 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 blah. And they would lean over and look at my mom. Okay, he said this. And it was not the answer they were looking for, but given my explanation, it made sense. And the tester went, okay, I'm not sure how to score this. And like it was longer than that, but like that's the general idea. So between the problems and, or like mispronunciation of words and my stutter, they basically said, yeah, let's get him into this special education class. And again, according to my mom, basically the class was like, I was in it for 6 months, but I got everything I needed within a week because the teacher or whatever was like, okay, when you say, I don't know the actual example, my mom might, but when I go to pronounce S, I would go F, like a lisp. Again, just as an example, I don't know that that's actually how it was for me, but they would go, okay, and instead of putting your tongue here and it makes this noise, do like this and it'll make this noise instead. I went, oh, okay, S, and that was it. But because it was on like a semester system, I was in the class for the rest of the semester, is my understanding. I could be way off on that. It could have been a 2-week class. It could have been a year-long class. I don't know. I was just a little guy. There is a funny story, though. Funny now that it's, you know, decades in the past. So it was winter, and my dad was picking me up from school, and he's just sitting there waiting in the car, and he sees me walking out, and I'm walking like behind a different one of the special ed kids, and this kid is more of the traditional special ed, you know, like he has crutches, can't really talk, and as my dad told it, I still keep making that mistake. That's rough. But as my dad told it, it was, I ran up to this kid, made some face at him, and then he had like a stocking cap on, and I just pulled it down over his eyes and ran away. And from my dad's point of view, basically I was just being a complete jerk and bully. And I mean, this other kid's also just a little guy, and like, why on earth would I do that? So he gets out of the car and basically has completely lost it, and he's so embarrassed. And the way he told it is, I was just confused. But thankfully, for me, the other kid's mom like grabs him, runs up, and it basically started thanking my dad and me, which, thanking my dad, he's like, yeah, he messed up and thank goodness somebody was there to defend this other kid. But then and me got him real confused, because she was like, oh yeah, none of the other kids like play with him or would ever do anything like that, and like your son is just very, like, he just treats him like a normal kid, and that's so wonderful. I love it so much. Thank you so much. So I'm sitting in the back of the car just confused, because like the way my dad was acting, I knew I was in trouble, but I wasn't really sure what. And then it just immediately stopped, so I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have anywhere I was going with it. Just wanted to tell a funny story. But yeah, the original reason. Oh, new microphones, and going to be cutting the audio. This episode I'm going to do a little differently, just so I can show like what I was trying to do with the pauses at the beginning there, and then the rest I will just cut as I kind of plan to do it in the future. But yeah, hopefully it's better. Hopefully you guys like it. Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, blah blah blah. Oh, and one of the other kind of problems with this method, that I've already seen it when I tried doing something like this before, was in the like truck audio, you can 100% still hear me talking. So I might record like this episode and use footage from a different point in time. I'll try not to reuse footage, because that would be kind of boring. But if for whatever reason I do, sorry, I don't think it's a big deal if I reuse footage, but given the option, I would rather not. And if I'm chopping up the audio to take out all the pauses, I can probably get like that was horrible. I can probably get like 2 or 3 episodes worth with one video. I mean, this episode I've only been recording for 31 minutes. After I chop it up, it'll be, I have no clue, 10. So, yeah, don't know what to say about that. But yeah, that'll be the plan going forward. Make some shorter episodes, and then I can upload silent ones, like the extra or the time lapse or whatever, just kind of as necessary or as I feel like it. Because, I mean, honestly, me just driving straight like this right here, that's not doing anything. But I think driving through the little towns is fairly interesting. You get to look at all the different things. And sometimes if, like I did a sunrise, then you could check that out. And that would be something interesting to look at. If there's animals along the way, that would be interesting. But just this seems less interesting than I would kind of like. Oh, the other thing I have to keep in mind is I have to not comment on what's happening. me right there, I have the automatic high beams on, and they just turned off for whatever reason. No clue. But like bringing that up, that's not what you guys are seeing. So, huh? But yeah, again, sorry to repeat it. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're enjoying this, if you want to see more, hopefully you guys have a good rest of the day. Alright, be safe. I forgot to mention that I got I got the DJI Mic Mini, right? I got the one with the 2 transmitters, and I'm using both of them, right? Which I'm not sure if that's good or bad. My initial plan was that I would use one, talk, and then use the other when like the battery got low. But I'm not sure if that's a good idea or using 2 at the same time is the better idea. So I'm not sure if this is picking up extra noise or causing an echo. I'll find out when I go to edit this, and then I'll try and record another one with just the one transmitter, one microphone, and then that way I can kind of compare and contrast, see what sort of difference that makes. And yeah, see, like, kind of like how I was saying here, it looks like you can hear the turn signal clicking, but it doesn't show up for you guys. So, I don't know. I don't know if this is the preferable way. I'm going to try it for a little while, see if things improve, see if it's not so terrible. Because, honestly, I can just plug it into Audacity and do delete silence. If it's longer than 2 seconds, trim it down to 3 seconds. And that's easy. But like I said, I was trying to that's easy. But like I said, I can trim that out, and that's simple and fast, but then the audio's out of sync with what's happening around. And I wanted to mess around with both the DaVinci Resolve Studio transcript, because they've got an option to just delete silence, which sounds great, but for me, it ends up cutting out actually some of the spoken parts for whatever reason. But that might be better for my audiobook process, where like I might be just sitting, reading the next line, and then, okay, cut that out. But it seems like it is very aggressive with the cutting, where it'll cut it very close to where the spoken part ends and the next one begins, which maybe that's fine, but generally I'd like to have maybe 5 seconds of space when I'm recording audiobook. I'm way off. You know what, who cares? But, so, if I use that with my audiobook recording process, maybe that'll be better for that. But for this, like talking, it doesn't really work. And it does, whether fortunately or unfortunately, change how my speaking goes and how people will perceive it. So if I do live streams there will be those pauses. And maybe then people will go, ugh, this guy can't talk. I didn't even get to the point of the, oh man, okay. The reason I think that I have the pauses is because of the stuttering that I had, and it was really, really bad. But the instructor said, hey, take a minute before you speak, think about what you're going to say, and then say it. And so now that's what I do. But it used to be like I was so excited to just talk, and I would say everything that comes out, and then anytime I got kind of hung up, I would just because I was trying to find the next word, and I couldn't quite grab it, and the person said, hey, just take a breath, right? And has it moved all the way over to the opposite extreme? I mean, yeah, it seems that way. But I would rather have it like this, where I pause for... I'd rather have it where I pause for a moment and then speak, instead of maybe pausing for 45 seconds or a minute or 5 minutes. But practice, right? And then also, sometimes I'll stop talking because, like, oh, I've got somebody passing me, or something weird's happening and I'm trying to concentrate on the road. Because I'm driving, and that needs to come first. But if I'm just open road, nothing's happening. Alright, I can blah 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 blah, pause, blah 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 blah, right? But when I need that focus, I'm gonna stop. And I think that's fair. But that's not something that you guys need to hear, or not hear, rather. So, hopefully, you guys like this new format. Like the microphones. Hopefully the dual microphones don't make it sound weird, but we'll see. I'm gonna try not to re-record this one, because that's one of the other things I do, is I'll record one, and then because I have 10 other things I've recorded, then I'll go, well, I don't know which video matches up with which audio, so I'll re-record it. And then I'll do it again. And again. And again. Because I'll like how the second one came out better. Like, even not listening back to it, I'll go, wow, that was a lot more clear and concise, and I didn't fumble around and get way off topic like I do. And let's go with that one, and then I'll lose it. And I have all of them, but yeah, it's just missing or missorted. And if it was a case where, like, it was easy for me to name the recording as I did it, that'd be one thing. But like I said, again, driving, I can't be typing on my phone to rename files. So I might have like 2 or 3 different topics that I go over in one drive, and in this case 2 separate files so far. And it's difficult because, like, the naming convention that I use is just like the episode numbers: year, month, day, and then actually time, hour, minute, second. And that doesn't always... First of all, the biggest problem with doing the recording and having the audio synced was if I didn't start both of them at exactly the same time, what a pain. I think I mentioned I have one of those dog clickers that I would use that creates a very specific spike on the waveform, and either I can go in manually and just line them up, or like DaVinci Resolve can actually do that automatically, and that was fantastic. But even better than that, not worrying about it being synced up, I can just completely ignore it. Because now I can just take any video and any audio, chop up the audio, mush them together, and I'm good to go. Whereas my before was, okay, find the right video, find the right audio, sync them up so that they're matched. Okay, now do this, now do this. And it was both easier and harder because, okay, well, it is what it is. The video is the video, the audio is the audio. Now that it's synced, all I do is put a little transition at the beginning, a little transition at the end. All right, and away we go. But if, I don't know where I'm going with it. It was very easy before, but there were a couple of like pains. Like sometimes it wouldn't automatically sync, which is fine. I know how to do it, but if it doesn't, then it's just kind of annoying. Like if your dishwasher breaks, yeah, you know how to wash dishes by hand, but you're still annoyed that the dishwasher's broken. If, I don't know. So, both sides have their positives and negatives. Hopefully this will be simple enough and enjoyable, and maybe because I'm not doing a hour-long episode, then, views, subscriptions, etc. The silent ones I'll still put up uncut. I think I was lowering the volume on them. I think that doesn't make sense, so I'll probably leave those at full volume going forward. The time-lapse ones don't record audio, so those will just be just the same. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But again, like, subscribe, comment, right? And still, everybody, be safe.